We'll be starting the session very shortly. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. A warm welcome to everybody. I would like to call upon Mr. Amit Bhatt, the moderator, the Managing Director of International Council on Clean Transportation. Amit Bhatt is the ICCT's Managing Director of India. He is based in New Delhi and has over 20 years of experience in transportation, urban development, and management. Let's welcome him. We have a panelist now, Mr. Vadiraj Krishnamurthy, is the CTO of Bosch Global Software Technologies. From 25 years of experience at Bosch Group in various product engineering roles. Let's welcome Mr. Vadiraj Krishnamurthy, sir, on the stage. We have Anjum Parvez, IAS, the Managing Director, Bangalore Metro Rail Corporation, India. Please welcome. We have Mr. Vinay Bhavani, the co-founder and the Chief Technology Officer of Chalo. Let's welcome Mr. Vinay Bhavani.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. This session that we will be kind of deliberating for next 45-50 minutes is around future of mobility. And I think this is a very, very important topic for the simple reason is that when we talk about growth, we talk about urbanization, we talk about cities, we talk about urban areas, and there's general feeling that if you want to grow economically, then urbanization is eminent. And as the country moves forward with the urban population, so if you look at last census, as per census, we were about 1/3 urbanized. So roughly meaning a third of our population lives in urban areas. And if you look at some of the mature economies in the world, be it cities from Europe, countries from Europe, countries from the Americas, you will realize that urbanization stabilizes when these countries reach somewhere about 80-85% urban level. Now that really means, and if you go outside this place and you will see this huge jam, and we all talk about, and I'm not from Bangalore, I'm from Delhi, and we all joke about the traffic in Bangalore. And what's interesting is that friends from neighboring states, cities joke about the traffic in Delhi. And the reason is pretty simple, is that our cities are not moving in an efficient manner. And therefore, if we have to move from this 30% urban level to 80-85% urban level, and if the 30% urbanization is creating this problem, what will happen when we reach this 80-85% level? And that's a slightly scary scenario on one side. But it's also a fantastic scenario because 2/3 of our urban infrastructure is yet to be built. So we have a choice to make a difference. Unlike some of these countries in the West, where they are locked in, they have built the infrastructure, and there's nothing that they can do about it. So because our cities, future cities are yet to be built, the question is, how can we make our cities so that they become competitive enough to offer the quality of life, to offer the economic productivity, prosperity that we think. Because if cities are the engines of growth, then transport is that wheel of that engine. And so if you have efficient transport, you have efficient cities, and you have efficient cities, you have cities which are delivering high quality life, delivering the gross domestic product that we anticipate from them. And then we can really kind of move towards 7, 8, 9% growth as we expect. So with this as the background, the question is, what should be the future of mobility? And because once we decide what is the future of mobility, we can start planning for that future. And so if one has to kind of look at this future of mobility, I think there are few things that the future of our mobility system should deliver. One, I think we have to look at a future which is zero emission, at least zero tailpipe emission. And we have great examples like metros, we have electric buses coming in, and we have all the wonderful technology which is now coming in and delivering the zero emission transport that we want. Second is we also want zero exclusion, which means the transport system should serve entire cross section of society, not just a certain popular segment. So we want zero exclusion from this transport system. And then we also want zero death and zero serious injuries, which means the transport system has to be safe in that aspect. So if that is the future of mobility, the question is, how do we go about doing it? And so with that, we have three eminent speakers who will be joining us, deliberating with us, presenting their point of view on what should we look at the future of mobility. So with this opening remark, let me start by first inviting Mr. Vadiraj to share his opening presentation on the topic, and then we will forward with the discussion.
Thanks, Amit, and good morning, everyone. I think Amit brought in a lot of challenges ahead of us in terms of what do we need to deal with in having a convenient, a safe, and a clean mobility, especially in our ever-growing urban ecosystem. So I think today, from a Bosch perspective, I just wanted to bring how is technology enabling us to tackle this challenge. And from a technology perspective, what's our take on future of mobility, and how do we envision technology helping actually find solution to this enormous challenge? So I would just next 10 minutes just walk you through it so that you get a flavor for that. Okay. Amit touched our challenges and motivation, and this is actually pushing us to find solutions for it. Whether it is the behavior of the consumer or the driver, that more and more consumer electronics are actually getting into mobility. So this is a trend that we see. And quality of urban mobility is really suffering. Congestion, traffic jams, emission, accidents, deaths, injuries. So that's another motivation for us. But also, we see that sustainability in terms of how do we protect our planet is also an important element that is driving us. So, which are the key enablers that we see coming out of all these trends that we have? So, this is what we see as PACE, P-A-C-E. The first one is more personalized because we are getting into multimodal mobility. It's no more I take my car and go from point A to B, but I go from point A to B in one mode, and then I can get on to another mode, could be a metro or could be a bus, and then go in and then have also again a last mile connectivity. So multimodal is also triggering a lot of personalized mobility. This means how do I personalize my multimodal mobility to where I want to reach? And what kind of technology can I really use to make that mobility very, very smooth and convenient? Automated. How can I have a much more less stress drive when I drive in a congested environment or even on a highway? How can I make driving safer? And connected. I think connectivity is already coming into cars, already up to B segments, cars are connected. But the question is, what kind of use cases can I really derive when a car can talk to another car or car can talk to an infrastructure? And how do we really technologically enable it? And of course, electrified, Amit touched on that, clean, and how can we get rid of tailpipe emission and embrace electrification. So pace is clearly a focus element. And I think all of us know that a vehicle already has a lot of software content in it. It's already there today that 7 to 10 and even in an upper end vehicle up to 70 or 100 control units are running already in today's car. But what do we see next? What we call as vehicle 4.0 is the so-called software-defined vehicle. So it's not about having more software in the car, but actually software actually defines the vehicle and mobility ecosystem. So this is what we call as SDV. So our take on the future is it would be a software-defined vehicle. How does a software-defined vehicle ecosystem or mobility ecosystem look like? So what you see on the left side is we move away from a lot of domain-centered controllers into more vehicle-centralized and zone-centralized controllers. This means we will see in the future a lot more compute power getting onto the car. Because if we have to solve some of the very complex problems that we just discussed a minute ago, we need a lot more computing power to come on to the vehicles, because we will have to run much more complex use cases. So therefore, vehicle computers will come in to the cars. Today, all this intelligence is inside a car and it doesn't talk to the outside ecosystem. So in more than one way, vehicle is the uppermost level what we have. But in the future, we see that vehicle will be one device in a connected mobility ecosystem. So in order to do that, we will of course bring onboard and offboard together. So you see on the right side, we see, I think I need to go back. Yeah. So we see going from I don't know why it's changing. Sorry for that. Okay. So on the right side, you would see that we will go from an individual vehicle. Maybe there is I guess there is a time. Sorry. Could you stay on this slide, please? Yeah. No, the one before. Yeah. Okay. So what we see on the right side is the 7-layered architecture of an SDV. So we will have deeply embedded controls that would control, let's say, a powertrain or a brake or an airbag. But then we will also have multi-microprocessor based vehicle computers, which is then the next layer. But then we will have connectivity from the vehicle to outside, what we call as V2X. And then there would be an off-boarded layer, which will then, through the edge system, take us into the cloud. So a lot of solutions will be when we will be able to connect multiple vehicles and mobility devices onto what we call as the worldwide grid. We all know the World Wide Web, right? But we don't have yet the worldwide grid. There is hardly any device that is connected. But in the next decades, we see step by step that we will connect different vehicles onto the worldwide grid. But it's not sufficient only to connect them, but it's also important to, the next one, please. Okay, so it's also important that this whole ecosystem actually works with a continuously upgradable software. I mean, we all know that from our smartphones, that when I buy a phone, I don't have all the features, but as I continue to use it, I can continuously get more and more apps and more feature. I think the mobility ecosystem will also go in this direction, where I can have a fully programmable vehicle instead of today, once I buy a vehicle, I don't get any other feature, right? And this is extremely important to push along more features into these vehicles. So this is the way we see the technology emerging. But the question is, again, connecting back to the use cases, how does this solve the problems that we have? Next one, please. Yeah. I'll just pick 3 of them. Let's pick first the safe part. So today, most of the accidents are happening because of driver error. It's not because the brake in my car doesn't work, because it's because of the human error. Because human can only see certain things and react to certain things. But if we have a world connected grid, actually car can speak to another car and get intelligence about it. So if there is a dangerous situation or an environment ahead of us, the car behind can actually get to know and be prepared for it. Today, I can only see in my line of sight, but I cannot see beyond it. And this is enabled by SDV. If you look more from a convenience point of view, valet parking or automated driving, or let's say highway assist, these are use cases that are only possible if I connect vehicles. If I look into electrification or the clean one, there is a lot of anxiety on range. There is a lot of anxiety on how do I get my charging infrastructure. So if I connect the grid, if I connect the charging stations, if I connect vehicles and they can actually talk to each other, a lot of optimization in terms of range and also search the right charging infrastructure for me is actually feasible. I can even think of battery in cloud kind of a concept. So some of these major use cases on safe, clean, and convenient driving are actually possible to be realized if we actually come towards a software-defined vehicle. And I think this is a great engineering challenges. We are not yet there because we need to define an SDV that is reliable, real-time, and robust. And this is extremely important because we are dealing here with a safety domain. So, but it's a great challenge, and I think many companies are on this challenge, and I'm looking forward to envisioning a mobility without side effects. Right. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Vadiraj. I think you framed it very nicely in the end, mobility without side effects, or what we call as with mobility without any externalities, so as to speak. So, and you really talked about how can we look at some of the personalized transport of the future in terms of connected vehicles. Now, we'll now move to Mr. Anjum Parvez, who is the Managing Director of Bangalore Metro Rail Corporation. And we have seen how Bangalore Metro has really grown in last few years. So if you could share some thoughts, sir. One, the background, and second, what's the vision for Namma Metro in Bengaluru?
Very good morning, Amit, and all my co-panelists, and the most important audience here, because it's a very rare occasion to see a full hall in individual sessions. So generally, the hall will be full either in the inauguration session or the valedictory session, and that itself shows the importance of the future of mobility. And I don't have any presentation, so I will just like to speak, and then Amit set the context in a very nice fashion that, and then we have a fantastic presentation from Vadiraj, which was more focused about personalized vehicle. But I'm not going to talk about the personalized vehicle because I'm totally on the opposite end. So I want to kill the personalized vehicle. So that's the difference. So, but anyway, we have seen that the kind of problem that we are facing in our urban areas, and especially the people who are living in Bangalore, the only thing for which we get the blasting from all section is two part. That one is the bad roads, and the other one is the traffic congestion. So it's easy to set right the bad roads. I think you may be seeing the better roads now, but the setting right the traffic is very, very difficult. And because of sometimes I think that why this situation comes, like in whether you go to Bangalore or Chennai or Bombay, any place, more or less, maybe in Bangalore it is slightly rich people are living, there a lot of easy loans are available, so immediately go and buy a new car. But more or less the system and the condition is almost everywhere same. And the most important reason that why we are in this situation, that urban sector was the most neglected sector in our country. And for a very, very long time, we thought that let us keep India in the rural areas, let us provide them the best facility available in the rural area and don't allow them to come to the urban area. And we badly failed in that. And when the people started moving in the urban area, we were completely like caught unaware that what is happening. So I always say that we are running behind the requirement of infrastructure. So actually it should be opposite, that you create the infrastructure and then the people are using it. And from that perspective, because I'll focus on metro more, so from that perspective, metro was introduced first in Delhi. You all must be knowing. And but the first metro came in Calcutta. It was in 1984, but for a very short distance. And after the success of Delhi, we suddenly realized that this is one means of communication, of transportation, which can change the skyline of the mobility in the city. And that's how in Bangalore also from 2005, we started working on the metro, and we are operational for the last 10, 11 years. But right now my network is pretty small, and we are operating only 56 kilometers of the network. But by June 2025, we'll have a complete network of 175 kilometers. And our vision is that the comprehensive mobility plan we have met for till 2031, and by 2031, my network should be 314 kilometers. So we'll be very close to what Delhi is having, and everything is going on track. And thanks to Government of India and to the state government, and most importantly, the people of Bangalore, because the name of our metro is Namma Metro. So everybody feels attached to Namma Metro. But it's a pretty challenging part. We are trying to do this thing. But one question always remains, that is the metro solution on its own, whether it can create the kind of solution which we are looking for the future of the mobility? And my answer is absolutely no. The reason is that the metro is one project which is a linear project, and it goes only in the area which is having much wider road, much space is available, because I can't acquire the land, it's very, very costly. So then the focus shifts to that which are the other mode of operation which is happening in the city. So I'll just take the example of Bangalore. Like, we have BMTC which is providing the service, and even today they are carrying almost about 40 lakh passengers per day. But because of metro, their ridership is coming down slightly. Then we have personalized vehicles are there, two-wheelers are there, autos are there. So the challenge is that how we can integrate all these mode of transportation which is in the city to provide a seamless transport communication experience to the people. Now, we always seen in our country that public transport, whether it is a metro or whether it is bus transport, we always say that it is a mode of transport of poor people. So the biggest challenge right now, the utilization of the public transport in Bangalore, including BMTC and the metro together, is roughly about 46-48%. Now the challenge is that how to increase it. And if you want to increase it, then you have to bring the people to the public transport, the people who are moving on the bike, and the people, most importantly, who are moving in the cars. And that is extremely important, and that is the most challenging part. And there we need the integration of the multimodal integration is extremely important. So if you see the BMRCL responsibility as on today, in addition to constructing the metro and running the services, one of the biggest role which have been given to us is the multimodal integration, how we can integrate, so that when you start from your house, you should have a nice dress or whatever you want to wear, and when you reach to your destination, you are in the similar kind of condition, so you're not sweating or something like that. That scenario should not happen. And BMRCL is working, and we are getting a lot of support from the other people. Like, especially I'm thankful to the startups which are coming up in the mobility sector. So like, if you see today, that a lot of startups are coming to me, and they are trying to integrate their services with the Bangalore Metro. And the second important thing is that, so we have to talk starting from the walkability of the city, use of non-motorized vehicle, how we can promote the car sharing, how we can bring the bike taxi, so that the people are easily able to reach to the nodal point. And once you reach the nodal point, when you get down at some places, whether your last mile connectivity system is available or not. So we are working very nicely on that. And the second important thing is that how much time a person is spending in getting onto the public transport. So for example, if you see the metro, if you go to buy a ticket, it will take at least peak hour, it may take up to 15 minutes also, because you have to be in the queue. And then we introduce the system of a smart card. So many of the people, they have taken the smart card, but still many people have not taken the smart card. So we came up recently, like just about 15 days back, we came up with a system of QR code ticketing for Bangalore Metro. And I'm very happy to share with you that it has become a big hit. And within launching, within 1 week, almost 10,000 people are getting their ticket on a smartphone QR code through the Namma Metro application or the WhatsApp application. I don't know how many people of you have used, but you can use it. It's a fantastic thing. There's no need of coming in the queue, and you can use this application for your QR ticket booking. You can recharging of the smart card, all the information about the metro. It's a multi-facial kind of application. So there the technology comes, that how we can. Now we are also working that how to link the different mode of communication. Like, the biggest problem today is that there is something called transfer penalty. So if a person is coming by a bus and then going to metro, he has to pay for 5 kilometer initially and the 10 kilometer for the metro. Whether we can combine the ticket which is for 15 kilometer, so that you don't have to pay the transfer penalty. So we are working on the National Common Mobility Card, and once that comes. But we are going one step ahead. We have already started working with 2-3 agencies, how we can integrate the taxi operators, how we can integrate the service provider of four-wheeler like say Ola, Uber, or the auto ride people who can use my app for booking their ticket. So suppose if you are traveling from say from Majestic to Kengeri bus terminal, but from there you want to go ahead, whether you can have an application when you reach there, your metro ride auto is ready and waiting for you. So if you can provide those kind of facility, then the people will be start moving to that. So that is one aspect. But it's extremely important that if we see the mobility solution in isolation, we will never be able to solve it unless it is seen as a part of the urban planning itself. I'll just give you one example, simple example. Like today, my work of metro from Hebbal to airport is moving at a speed where people are really appreciating. And I'm myself amazed at how this work is happening so fast. No, what is the reason for that? The reason is that when the national highway was planned, at that point of time, only the 5 meter of additional land was acquired for the purpose of metro. So when we are talking about the urban mobility, we have to keep in mind that when we are doing the master plan of the city, what kind of infrastructure that we are emphasizing, that is extremely important. Like for example, Mr. Wadi Raj was talking about the grid for the charging. Now, is it possible to create in Bangalore as of now? It's very difficult because the city is already grown. There are very few places where this kind of land is available. But metro is providing those kind of facility. In fact, I have a policy of first come first serve. So if anybody wants to put a charging station or the swapping station, we are more than happy to provide. But my point is that whenever you are planning an urban area, you identify the nodes for the charging. Like, okay, fine, this is my 5 acre of land reserved only for the electric vehicle charging. The huge charging stations are going to come. And then you connect these small places, your bus stop, your metro station and all those things. And then interconnect what he was talking about, talking to each other. I always say that if we can bring an infrastructure which talks with the consumer, that is nothing like it. So we have to see the whole traffic problem as a solution has to come from the urban planning itself. What is your mobility plan? City mobility plan is extremely important. Another very important thing on which we are working is the transit-oriented development. So if the city has to move, we have to shift to the system of transit-oriented development. We cannot have an haphazard that metro is going on one way and the population is coming on the another way. So population has to move towards the corridor, whether it is a metro corridor, whether it is a K-ride corridor, or whether it is a BMTC corridor. So the government is working and we are in pursuing that thing, that how we can provide incentive to the people within 500 meter of the transit mode of operation and within 1 kilometer, so that more and more people can come and live there, so that your working place and your living place is very close, and that reduces the requirement of moving itself. So rather than moving for 1 hour to reach from your residence to the workplace, the promotion is to go for the mixed development. That is extremely important. So very soon we'll get a transit-oriented development where we'll start densifying the metro corridor. And the most important part is the electric mobility. When we talk about the future of mobility, one thing, as rightly told by Amit, that it should be like zero emission. If we can achieve that thing, hopefully. But I always say that in urban area, a zero emission by the mobility, by utilizing the electric vehicle, is not the perfect solution, because that energy is being produced somewhere else in Tumkur by burning of the coal and all those things. So we have to think about that, the urban mobility, when we are moving on the electric vehicle thing, at what pace we are moving on the our non-conventional energy, like which is continuously like solar or wind power. And I'm very happy to share that in the state of Karnataka, a lot of companies have come and they have invested in solar and wind. So almost more than 50% of our electric requirement is coming from the solar side that is coming. And in future, we are planning one very important thing, that when we talk about the multimodal integration, whether the BMTC buses are able to reach and stop at my metro station or not. That's extremely important. And in phase 1, we were not able to do that thing because of the cost factor. But in phase 2 and the 2A and 2B, we are developing the station in such a fashion that the buses will come right up to the entrance level, so that you can just get down from the buses and then move to this thing. And then similarly, we are coming up with the scenic port and metro ride and those kind of things. But a lot more, I think, can I have take one or two more? Yeah, so a lot of other policy frameworks are required. Like one thing is that till now in Karnataka, we don't have the permission for the car sharing. If you go to any foreign country, the car sharing is one thing which is very, very common. And even the service provider like Ola and Uber, you can utilize for pulling of the people on the car. The bike taxi policy have been done, but still the bike taxi has to be seen on the ground. So there are a lot of policy decisions which has to come up from the transport department. I hope that in coming time those issues will come. But I can tell you that from the metro side, we are focusing on two parts. One is the expansion of the network. Second thing is that maintenance of the network is extremely important, because metro is one thing which is elevated and we can't afford to have any kind of mishap, because any mishap in metro is like going to be a very, very fatal and will bring a very bad name to this mode of transportation. And I'm very happy to share with you that we have not come across any this kind of incident. Safety is extremely important, especially for the women who are traveling in the metro. So in metro, we have one bogie which is reserved exclusively for the ladies, and we put a lady marshal after 7 o'clock in that bogie, because the people need that confidence in the public transport. If you can provide that confidence, more and more people will start coming. We are also focusing a lot on that, whether the metro itself can emerge as your shopping place. So when you are coming back from your work, and if you want to buy something, whether you can quickly purchase those things at the metro station, maybe your vegetable or some packed food or something of those things. So we are focusing on that. Outside metro also, we are trying to bring these things. So my whole target is that the metro should be like your end-to-end kind of solutions. So it should take care of your marketing facility also, traveling facility also. And I'm very thankful to the corporate companies of Bangalore and the builders of the city of Bangalore for taking the direct connectivity from the metro station. So I'll just give you one example, that the electronic city station number 1, which is Infosys Foundation has shared 170 crore of rupees they have given, and that station is going to be directly connected to the Infosys Foundation campus. So the employee who are working in the Infosys Foundation, they need not come on the ground at all. From the metro, they can come out and then just go to their place. We are also thinking whether we can create office spaces in the metro itself. So in future, all the underground stations which are going to come, we are going to multi-level building which will be used for the offices and all those things. So let your employee come, straight move to the office, and it works because it saves a lot of time for the company itself. Embassy is coming forward, Biocon has come forward, Century is coming forward, Bagmane Tech Park is coming forward. Everybody is coming forward. ITPL has taken the connectivity. So this is one thing which is happening in Bangalore, that the metro is being linked to the workplace. Metro is being linked to the residential area. In fact, recently I have a talk with people who are living in the Whitefield area, and many of those people who are the apartment owners, they are coming forward that we will run the feeder buses so that these buses will start and cover all the apartments in that area and bring the people to the metro station. So this is the integration which is required between the bus service and the metro stations. So the lot of things like future of mobility in India, as I can see, we are going through a tough time, but I can see 10 years down the line, we are going to have a pretty good mobility especially in the city of Bangalore. And let us hope that our children, they enjoy a better mode of transportation, which is green, which is safe, which is sustainable. So I'll stop here. There's a lot to talk about mobility, but there are 3-4 panelists, and Amit will not give you more time. So thank you very much. And thank you very much to all of you for patiently listening to me.
Thank you, Mr. Pervez. You said our children will enjoy a better mobility, but with the space and the pace at which Namma Metro is moving forward, I think we will also enjoy a better mobility in coming days. So you also talked about use of technology, and I think now we'll request Vinayak from Cello to talk a little more about how Cello is helping shape the integration part of the urban mobility.
Thanks, Amit. I think before I jump to that, I also have one quick thought to share on the future of mobility. Few years back, I had seen a movie. It was a sci-fi movie with Tom Cruise. Okay. Few years back, I had seen a sci-fi movie of Tom Cruise. Right. He clicks a button, a solar-powered pod comes. Okay. The guy gets in, the pod moves. Right. Goes to the highway, gets aggregated with bunch of other pods. Right. And leaves him to the destination, right? So I do agree what all of you said earlier. The future seems like it's seamless, it's connected, it's pollution free. Given solar, wind, green energy, it's safer, right? Given it's autonomous, much less likely, for accidents. But given more and more people are traveling, right? We said more urbanization is happening. Population is only increasing. We touched 8 billion, right, this week, right? I think given the constraint of both space and energy, right, mass transit is the answer, right? When you think of future of mobility, even when you have these individual pods, right, you do need to combine them and move them together, right? And hence, buses or mass transit has a much larger role to play as we think of the future. Okay. Now coming to the question of integration, sir said that no single mode is the answer, right? I fundamentally believe in that. Your transport has to be seamless, your transport has to be reliable, your transport has to be connected, right? And hence, we do need platforms to aggregate all modes of transport, right? Allow for seamless discovery, allow for integrated payments, allow for integrated fares, right? Sir said, transfer penalty. Why can't we take one more step further and have a subscription, right? Like we all watch Netflix. You pay 1,000 rupees and all your entertainment gets taken care of for the month, right? Why can't we have a travel plan for the city? You pay X amount of rupees and everything, for that month is taken care of, right? You have an app. You can board the metro, you can board the BMTC bus, you can take an e-bike, you can take few Uber. This is, what I feel we need to get to, and hence, your public transport will see far more adoption. So those are the 2 cents.
Thanks a lot. And I think Chalu has been doing some phenomenal work in terms of looking at how can we bring this integration to public transport. So I think a couple of messages are coming very clear. One, I think we have to look at priority. And the priority for future of mobility has to be on walking, cycling, public transport, and shared mobility. So that's one. Second, we also have to look at the other externalities and we have to reduce them. So whether it is emission, whether it is exclusion, or whether it is looking at how can we create safe systems. And third is integration. Integration amongst mode, but most importantly, and which Mr. Pravesh said, how do you integrate land use and transport together? Because if you design cities which are segregated, no matter how good public transport you will bring in, the segregation will not go away. So can we start integrating cities? Can we start designing cities which by inherent nature doesn't require you to travel long distance on personal motor transport? So I think that is an integral piece, and this is where I think the land use planning and the transport planning has to come together. So we have a couple of minutes, and maybe we can take a couple of questions if you have. Yeah, so please raise your hand. Someone will come with a microphone. Will, and then identify yourself. And the question should be brief.
Yeah.
Yeah. I should expect the answer should be longer than question. So
Definitely.
please.
So I'm Prateek from Deccan Herald. I would want to understand, so you spoke about, Anjum sir, you spoke about how urban planning needs to happen hand in hand with mobility for mobility to answer the solutions, right? So how far is India, not just Bengaluru, but how far is India there? I mean, others also could pitch in terms of, taking urban planning hand in hand with mobility, because I don't see that happening. I report a lot on mobility, sir. So if you could shed some light on that.
Yeah. And one gentleman over here. We'll take 2 or 3 questions and then we'll ask the panelists to answer.
Yeah. So the coming to this tech summit itself will take more than 1 hour. So what kind of AI-based solution you are giving for any transport system for the? So it is like a Bangalore traffic is one of the major critical part, but it's still we didn't have that any proper police systems to take care of the traffic controls, and every day we are facing these problems. So what any AI-based solution or any smart solution we are going to implement in future to avoid this traffic problem?
Okay. So, gentlemen, smart solutions, urban planning, and
Yeah, I have a small question. I'm Colonel Harprasad. I know that we are all talking about the future of mobility. What is that? Now, I'm mighty impressed by Mr. Anjum when he said you are generating electricity out of coal burning, and there is a lot of wastage there, or any other thing. I'm stretching it a little further. After 5 years, all these nickel cadmium batteries will come for disposal, and it is going to create a humongous health hazard to the community as such. What is the solution? What are we looking at? Maybe Robert Bosch may be able to look at it from from that angle and find a solution for it now.
absolutely. We'll take 3 questions. We'll seek an answer, and then we'll come again. So, please, you want to take, sir, the urban planning question?
See, on the question of the transport planning linking with the urban mobility, what you talked about, and I would like to share with you that is known as a comprehensive mobility plan of the city. And as I told when I was speaking, that urban sector was the most neglected sector. So you talk about the urban area and the people will just shut you down that, okay, forget about urban area, let us focus on the rural area, and we'll lost the golden opportunity at that point of time. But from, I can say, late 90s and the early 20s, the lot of focus has started coming on the urban area from both government of India as well as the government of Karnataka and all other states, because they want to attract people. And almost about 10 years back, the government of India took up the responsibility that every city should have a comprehensive mobility plan. So majority of the city have a comprehensive mobility plan, but the challenge is not that. The challenge is that whether the comprehensive mobility plan which have been prepared by the mobility partners, whether it is getting integrated with the urban planning or not. That is the biggest challenge, and the resistance come there. So if you see the city of Bangalore, somebody is going to lose land for that, and somebody is going to gain out of that networking. So the tussle happens between these positive and the negative aspect of the advantage. That why my land should be utilized for this purpose, why not my neighbor land? So it needs a very, very strong commitment from the administration, from the political setup, so that if I'm doing this thing, this have been done in a very, very scientific manner, and you cannot escape from there. So that message should go to the people. So unless that thing goes, it's very difficult to integrate the mobility plan and the urban planning.
Maybe I can give quick answers to two of them. One is on, you spoke about AI and how the system can become intelligent. I mean, I would even not go into AI, but very simple steps of V2X. So if I have if I today can communicate from the car into an infrastructure, or from an infrastructure to a traffic signal, we can actually start implementing very small incremental steps. Example, today the duration of the signal is more fixed and it is manually managed. It is not automatically changed based on the density that I see in every roads in the signal. So you might have a 500-meter pileup and only a 50-meter pileup on the other road, and both have equal time for green. That's because today there is no way to tell that there is a 500-meter pileup on one intersection. So we can start with this very simple step, and also the pathway for ambulance while driving. So when we start the V2X, I think these simple small use cases can come before we tackle the much bigger one. For your question, sir, I think you raised an important problem, because we are looking at a severe problem that we will face 15 years later. But there are two things that are being thought of. One, yeah, but two things. One is we definitely need a reuse and a recycle concept for it. We cannot simply throw the batteries after their life. This is simply not a viable solution. The second one is battery is not the solution for everything. We are here intensively looking at fuel cells, hydrogen, because there the recycle concept is far better. So I don't think the entire world will shift only to battery operated cars. Anjum sir raised already a question of, why do I burn the coal and then what is the fun in having everything on battery? But at the same time, we should also look at alternates to battery and also come with a recycle concept. So there are some thoughts, but we are still not yet there to solve the problem that you have raised.
Sure. Vinayak, you want to add anything? Yeah. Let them finish answering. Yeah. No, he's about to answer. Please respect the panelist.
Yeah. So we are actually working on the entire supply chain as well. So current view is we think it is commercially first viable in large commercial vehicles, because the battery operated is simply not viable in a 20-ton truck or in a 40-ton truck. Simply is not possible. So hydrogen we think will enter into commercial vehicle and
Yeah.
then flow into others.
Yeah. Vinayak, you wanted to add
Yeah,
something?
very quickly. The gentleman asked, right, the need and use of smart solutions. We jokingly say buses and transport runs on technology, not fuel, right? It's more and more true now. So two quick examples, right? At least from the bus industry. Every time someone takes a bus, right, and sir said 40 lakh passengers take the bus every day in Bangalore, right? They don't know when the bus will come. People end up waiting 10-15 minutes every time they take a bus. 30 minutes wasted per person every day, right? Can we not use data to tell people exactly when the bus will come, right? And it's a complex problem. Given the traffic in the city, predicting this accurately, right? It's a lot of intelligence. It's a smart solution to go build this. Similarly, if you look at the utilization, right, and now coming to economics, right, of the buses, the utilization of the bus is only high during peak hours, right? If you look at the utilization of the bus during the full day, you will realize buses are extremely underutilized, 30-40% capacity, right? Can we not use data and technology to schedule these buses better? There are enough people, waiting. There are enough people who want to travel. Can we not better bridge demand and supply, right? Cater to better passenger experience and also make your buses, more sustainable. So again, quick two examples where data and technology can be super helpful.
Thank you.
Will I have time, sir?
No, I think we are. Yeah.
Just three issues.
The other session is waiting, so we can continue the discussion outside.
It's very
No,
important.
please. We are behind schedule. There is another session which is about to happen. So first of all, I'll do thank you and apologies for not taking all the questions because
So if
we
you
are already.
don't allow me, there is no meaning in remaining here.
Thank you. So, yeah, we are running behind schedule. There is another session which is waiting. We are waiting for the session to start, and we should also respect the other sessions as well. So, thank you, and first of all, thank to all the panelists. I think what has really come out very well is that the future of mobility is on shared transport. It's on walking and cycling. It's on cleaner fuels, as well as it is one which reduces the externalities, so as to speak. We are very hopeful in coming days we will see a much better transport solution in not only in Bangalore but rest of the country. Thank you, and thank you once again to all the panelists.
Thank you.
Thank you for all the panelists for the wonderful session. I would like to call upon Ma'am Vijay Lakshmi Ma'am, the AGM of KIDS, Karnataka government, to give the memento. Mr. Amit Bhatt, sir. Mr. Anjum Kadri. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Will the start starting the next session in just a few minutes. I would request everyone to be seated. The next session's topic will be AVGC as a soft power, the Indian story. Okay. I would request everyone to be settled down so that we can start the next session, please. A very warm welcome to everyone. I would request everyone to be settled down so that we can continue with the session now. Now we have a session on AVGC as a soft power, the India story. Here we have a moderator, Biren Ghosh, the country head, Technicolor India and President, ABAI. I would like to welcome Sir on the stage, please. Can we all have applause for him and let's welcome him? Sir.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a real pleasure to be at the Bengaluru Tech Summit. I have been coming here for between 15 and 20 years. It was IT.biz. And of course, in the last 5 or 6 years, it has gone through an escape velocity and become something that is a really global, truly global event. So very warm welcome to all of you. There is a reputation that we have at the AVGC panel that the room gets filled and there's only standing room. So something is happening in 2022. But I think once we play a video or two, you'll see that people will find this the most exciting place to be in, only because it is the most exciting place to be in. So over the years, the moving images across all formats have seen that audiovisual craft and storytelling has been changed. And the creatives who are looking at vertically moving up to what happens next in the industry are doing something very different. And today, the panel that we are presenting to you will demonstrate that movie making and film making is no longer movie making and film making. It is image making, because images today have jumped out of the box of entertainment and influence everything and anything that anyone does in whatever industry you might be in. So I wanted to start by basically telling you that we here are representing the visual arts and the visual sciences. And what's so fascinating about stories is that, of course, we love the movies and we love TV, and what makes them spectacular is the way in which the packaging and the technology brings new stuff to you. So I wanted to ask you a question. Like, some people here have seen, I saw you in the last panel, some were listening, some were checking their phones, some were doing stuff. But I tell you one thing, in my next life, I'm going to be a neuroscientist. And so I'm practicing. And so I want to tell you that neuroscience will tell you that when the human brain detects change, it starts getting activated. And when the brain doesn't see change, then it falls asleep. And therefore, what people are trying to do when they tell you a story, like I'm trying to do right now, is to tantalize your brain enough so that you do not check the WhatsApp message, you don't look anywhere else. I know I'm not Shah Rukh Khan, but what I'm going to show you is what Shah Rukh Khan is going to take into his storytelling in the future. So, moving on, I wanted to just say that there is a funny phrase called AVGC. I want to ask the people at the back, what does AVGC mean? Shout it out, come on. What is A? Audio. Okay, what is V? Video, very good. What is G? Gujarat, sorry. Graphics, what is C? C. Content, convergence, fantastic, fantastic. Audio, video, graphic, convergence. You have invented a much better version of what we wanted to say. My talk is over. I'm going back and you're getting the panel on the stage, because that's exactly what I wanted to say in 24 slides. But AVGC is a term that was invented here in Bengaluru. It has gone to the whole of Karnataka. It has gone to the whole of India and is now exporting itself all around the world. Because when we made our first policy 12 years ago in Karnataka, it was for animation, visual effects, games, and comics. And it was difficult to say animation, visual effects, blah, 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 blah. So therefore, we basically said AVGC. But now we say AVGC and XR, because you see in the panel today that there is another story that's happening with extended reality, AR, VR, BR. XR definitely, and you're going to see that XR is no longer the X that's at the back of my double XL shirt, is actually something that's quite a different reality from myself. So moving forward, how many people here are curious? Anybody curious? Raise your hands. Everybody is curious. Perfect. Ideas. BTS is about ideas, right? Where do ideas come from? Where do ideas come from? They come from a place of maximum curiosity. Everyone who is creating anything, a game, a movie, a video, a startup, a business plan, in any field that you'll see in the BTS, is looking for ideas. Technology is the way by which they can make it come out, but basically everyone is looking for maximum curiosity. How many of you watch Netflix or any streaming channel? Put your hands up. Have you noticed that when you come to the end of one episode, it does not end there? So you say, okay, I'm tired, but I'm going to watch the next 5 minutes because I want to see what happens. And guess what happens? You watch the whole episode. And then what happens? You watch the next one. Why? Because they have figured out that maximum curiosity is what is going to make you stay with that story. And so that's what we do in our business. We do Shrek 1, Shrek 2, Shrek 3, Shrek 4, Fast and Furious 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, etc., because we want to keep the maximum curiosity going. Now, before I came here, I went to the VIP lounge and they took a picture of my brain. What can you see in this? What do you see? Yes, what do you see? Quickly, shout it out. Left and the right. Why is the right colored? That's the creative part. Okay, it's actually not true in science, but it really is helpful to actually show that for 75 years, at least the 50 years of India's independence, we had to bring people into English, math, science, and mainstream, and we ignored the other side, which is the arts and the heritage and the things that we are now beginning to talk about. And therefore, we are using the visual arts to use science and create fabulous things that only the right side of the brain can evolve. Can I just stop here, please? Can you go back to, can I have the lights down? I want to show you what is actually happening. I want to go back one slide. Thank you. Can I have the house lights down? Today's discussion is about the fact that what we do in AVGC is applicable to every single company and technology in this entire BTS. It is virtual production. Everybody uses images, and everyone who is going to produce images using technologies that were only there in the games before. So I'm going to play you a video which shows you what we as one company, Technicolor, through the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, have started using virtual production so you don't make dogs jump off cliffs. You don't make human beings fall off cliffs like we had the boy in Jungle Book. He didn't really fall off that cliff. He didn't really ride the tiger or the buffalo because he was a virtual boy. And for that reason, I'm going to show you what virtual production is beginning to do. So, volume please, video. Can we have a big hand for the artists who did all that work? So that's virtual production where you can create creatures, environments, aliens, characters. Horror movies don't really go and get people to, get blood splashing all over them. It can all happen in that way. How many of you have seen Top Gun Maverick? Oh, everybody. Those who haven't, it's on Netflix now. Don't pirate it. So I just wanted to say that all the work that was done, Tom Cruise, all those fantastic maneuvers, all of that is done by MPC, the folks out here. You're going to see KK on stage who works with the phenomenal animators there in that movie. So the idea is that you take amazing ideas and elevate that into great imagery. And there's only one thing that I can say how we work. We basically work with rules, but we do not work with a template. Everything that we do is original, and you're going to hear from the four panelists as to how they've mastered this art in a way that only India can. I want to make sure that I tell you before we go forward that we at ABI, which is the Association of the Creative Industries in Bangalore, have been working with the government of Karnataka for the last 15 years, and we finished our second 5-year policy this year, and we're now going to be working on the 3.0 version of that policy. And we have led India, and we have taken India to the world through all that we've done. So when you saw there the virtual stage with Jon Favreau, with the most amazing director of The Lion King and of Jungle Book, and we won Oscars with him, we won VS Awards with him. The one thing that is fantastic about the global production of virtual production is that it is an open source thing. Nothing that we did with Disney or with John was restricted to one studio. It's been used later by The Mandalorian, used by other people. It's a phenomenal space. And I can tell you that the only other place in the world besides the Culver City studio that we have for virtual production is here in Bangalore. And I must ask you to give the government of Karnataka a phenomenal round of applause, because that stage exists in Bangalore in Whitefield. So yes, it's been a massive grant. I think this is the only state where they look ahead at unproven ideas, at unproven technologies, and say, we will find a way for you to get this to this city in order for small, medium, and large-scale businesses to make that happen. And you're going to hear from the panelists of people that have actually used and are using the COE in order to advance their business. I can also tell you one more thing, which is a big myth. Most of your friends, relatives, kids will tell you that India does only low-end work in animation, visual effects, and games. This is entirely untrue. It used to be there 20 years back or 15 years back. We make the highest end of everything that we do. I'll show you in a bit about, in the interest of time, I won't stay here for too long, but I'll carry on to tell you that today we are telling you the next chapter of the India story when it comes to imagery here on this stage, as we've always done every year. So moving forward, I just want you to know that I'm not going to go into this. It's a huge market. It's a $29 billion market in India, which is media today. Animation used to be 3 or 4% of that. AVGC today is about 18% of the total revenues that India has in media. Film, for example, is 8%. All of the movies in India are 8% of the media's revenue, whereas animation, visual effects, and games is 18% already, and is likely to become between 30 and 45% of the total revenue generated in India in the next 3 to 5 years. Who are we here and why are we telling you this story? I think the role of leaders are to be simplifiers. And what we've done is we've taken these complex technologies, and you're going to see 4 out of the 400 leaders in India that run the biggest studios that can tell you how to make this simple for an artist, for a technician, for a production manager, for people that have to grapple with new tools and new technologies, And I think that is the power of Bangalore. That's the power of India, where we're taking global technologies and making sure that we become the hub. And you're going to see examples of that in our conversation. So yes, the past has been eclipsed. We don't have enough people. We are 180,000 people short every year in our industry. I'll repeat, we are 180,000 people short in our industry. And if you look at today's Business Standard newspaper, you will see that according to the people in HR, they think that that number is too small. It's a heavy infrastructure industry. The reason that we are looking to have the COE here, and we've also influenced the thought process, there will be a national center of excellence for the country, which is going to have a budget about 10 times what we've already created in Bangalore. And the reason for that is it takes a lot to create. Now, this is one company's story. This is just my company, Technicolor Creative Studios. So, for example, Google all over the world will have around about 700, 800 petabytes of data. For everything, everyone in the world using Google is 800 petabytes. We as one company use 60 petabytes. So it shows you that in one company uses 8% of what Google has worldwide, which is why we have to burst with all 3 cloud providers, etc. And for those of you, anyone knows terabytes? Raise your hand. Terabytes, anyone? 7, 12, 15. We as a company, when we create these movies and episodes and games, we write 300 terabytes per day. That is how heavy it is, which is why, like roads, bridges, and so on, our industry needs to be viewed like an infrastructure industry. We need to make sure that the capital available to us to make India even bigger, 5 times its size, needs hand-holding in infrastructure. I'm ending in my last 2 or 3 slides in the interest of time. I won't go through all of this because you're going to hear this all the time. But I want to play you one more video just to show you that when you talk about the metaverse, okay, we have made a video, which is, we have made a piece of animation, which is on Apple Plus. Has anyone seen Prehistoric Planet? 5 or 7 of you. Do you know how many years back that story is? Quickly. 66 million years ago, this was our planet. Okay? So my view is, there was a metaverse. And if we can go back 66 million years, then we can go forward by 10 million years. And the panel is going to tell you how that's going to happen. So I'm going to end here by just showing you this video and then just a few of the slides without speaking of all the work done in Bengaluru in the last 5 years. So can I just go back? I think I can go back. Let me go back one more. Okay, I'm going to play this. Thank you.
This is Prehistoric Planet. There are many ways to describe life on this planet. Some creatures could be called magnificent, or monstrous. Perhaps misunderstood. But only a few creatures who roam this earth could be called all three. Explore the coastlines where giants roam. The deserts where danger rules. And ice worlds where survival is everything. Join us for a story you've never heard, on a scale you've never witnessed. unbelievable until now.
What you just saw has a significant portion of India's soft power capability. So I just want on this note to call up my panel on stage. Don't have the time to go through the rest of it, but all these movies that you see here, all these television series, all these ads, all these fully animated series, all these games, all of them made in India, made in Bengaluru. Thank you very much. Okay, now for the fun part. I am delighted and pleased to welcome, starting with the names from my left, Kiran Kumar, who's MPC. A lot of the animation you saw, he's the leader of the animation team, the worldwide animation team based in Bengaluru. To his left, the one and only Virendra Patil. He's the youngest man in the startup community in animation. Whatever you see is actually a digital twin touched up with textures and lighting. That's Viren Patil for you. We're gonna have Harsha. He's the recipient of the first Elevate. He got an award to do a startup from the government of Karnataka, and he has taken Elevate and he has elevated it into the world of XR, AR, VR from Hollow World. And finally, last but not the least, a person who's both a fast bowler and a spin bowler, and represents all of media, television, music, episodes, film, animation. The one and only, I call him Naveen. Okay, so we're going to actually tell you how we are going to take over the rest of the world that we haven't taken over. Please take your seats, gentlemen. I apologize for the fact that there's no lady on the panel next year.
I'm going to start with the youngest person in the room. So Viren, you are on your third or fourth startup. So can you tell us, besides what you eat for breakfast, what is the breakfast for the business plan? I mean, what makes you do this stuff? It's not Stockholm syndrome. It must be something better than that. What makes you do this fantastic stuff that you do? How is this describing the soft power? How have you felt India's soft power working for you? And what do you do now? And what can you say about what happens next?
Absolutely. Thanks, Biren. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Yes, it is the third startup for me. I think I've reached alphabet Z, so hopefully I'm out of alphabets and no more beyond this. The industry has changed dramatically, Biren, since the time I met you and since we all started up 20 years back, right? Today, I really feel some of the things that we just saw, and the change is inevitable. There's a humongous development in technology. Technology has reached all of us. I personally feel that there's a certain amount of democratization of how films can be made, because now technology is accessible to all of us and most of us, and also through social media platforms, we also have an access to audience. It's really up to you and me to create good content for audience to be able to see the material that we create. I am actually one of the beneficiaries of Abai. Our studio is at COE at Abai in Bangalore. So we actually use the facility there. We are one of the beneficiaries of what's going on through all these government opportunities. Apart from it, one of the things that I was talking to Biren earlier was, I feel that the cities have reached an inflection point. I really, really believe that the second tier and third tier cities of India is where there is amazing opportunity. There's humongous amount of aspiration in the youngsters. They want to do something. So at Zebu, we have a studio now at Hubli. We are 20 people and we are doubling our capacity to 40, and we are based out of Deshpande Foundation at Hubli. So we are a 45 people team in Hubli right now, and creating all this amazing content. I mean, just imagine that we are creating global content sitting out of Hubli and Bangalore and Trivandrum, and I'm not talking of work from home. I'm actually talking of actual studios, physical studios. And all these things wouldn't exist. I mean, if there was no partnership between us and the government, right? I mean, without those things, this would be a little more tough. So I appreciate what's happening. Yeah.
Thank you very much. You talked about a very important point because everyone's talking about should they work from home, should they work from the studio, but we are very much like a team, right? AVGC is like a team sport.
Oh, yeah.
You need to be all there together, and you need to be bouncing off each other and doing stuff. And I have a phrase for this. We can't afford to have moonlighting in a sunrise industry. So, okay, it's very important. Since you talked about smaller towns, I'm going to introduce to you Harsha. Harsha is he's a guy with magic potion. Okay, he keeps it in the inner pocket of his jacket because once I know he took it out and showed it to me. It's all vapor because this things happen. But he is in Mysore, and he's going to tell you why he came and started up here, why he's in Mysore, and how he mesmerizes people by doing things that were supposed to be filmmaking but are now image making, and how many different industries are being influenced by the technologies that he creates. And I'll leave it to you, Harsha, to delight us with that.
Thank you, Virendra, and it's wonderful to be here among the panel. The most interesting thing is what is going to be the future, right? The future has to depend on the past, but it need not be limited by the past, right? We can use the past to really leapfrog. And that when I came back from US, I was building robots, I was doing all these cool things in US. And when I came back to India, I saw that like it was very, very difficult to do even simple things, right? Like in US, there was a lot of technology, but in India, technology was more concentrated, right? There were few people who had access to the best of the technologies, but the rest were actually way far behind, right? So our aim was to democratize access to latest technologies. For example, I'll give you one simple example. Like when iPhone came, right, it basically took your fingers and virtualized it. This 2D interaction and all was happening. But then it came much later, 1 or 2 years later. And by that time, all the cool things were already developed in US and other places, right? So now we were at the threshold of a new revolution. 3D was coming, right? Extended reality. And we wanted to make sure India powers this technology. We are talking about soft power, right? It's not just the soft power, the hard power also is important, right? And when I say hard power, what do we do? Let me tell about what we do, right? We are actually building something called Hollow World, which is a phygital metaverse. Phygital, right? Physical plus digital. So that's why it's soft plus hard, right? Digital is soft, physical is hard. And for humans and robots, right? The humans are soft, robots are hard, right? So both humans and robots can actually be programmed using these technologies. And if you see in sci-fi, most of the exciting things are always humans and robots, right? In the movies. So how do we do that, right? If you look at the future, if you look at what iPhone did, it took your fingers and virtualized this, right? But I see a future where everybody will be having a glass and a glove, right? What is this glass and a glove?
Glasses like spectacle or that big?
No. Like the glass that you're wearing, right? Glove is going to be your skin, right? It's just going to be like your jacket, pant, whatever you're wearing, that itself will get transformed into digital, phygital, right? Physical and digital. Your jacket and pant, that's what we built, hollow suit, will become the interface. And entertainment is not something that you see on movies or on theaters. Your glass is going to project the dinosaur in front of you, and you will actually have a spear and you will hunt it down, right? And this, you can bring it wherever you go. It's no longer limited to your house or your thing. When every entertainment everywhere, right? That is the future. And entertainment is very critical for creating excitement, right? And if we excite people, then they're able to do everything they want in this 3D interaction. Because if we become the hard power and the soft power, which allows you to interact in 3D, see in 3D, much before everybody in the world is able to do it, then we are able to create entertainment, the future of entertainment, which is going to be hollow suit, which basically takes your body and virtualizes it, hollow capture, which basically allows anybody to be able to create digital twins of themselves or any equipment, right? It's not just in the labs that Viren Ghoshji has in his Bangalore thing. Any villager, right now, YouTube, if you look at YouTube or TikTok, anybody is using and creating content, right? How about creating film quality content? How about anybody creating a dinosaur coming and attacking them in the virtual world? That is what hollow capture can do, because it allows you to capture in 3D. And then the most
In how
exciting
much
part,
time will this happen?
oh, it's already happening, because
The people in the audience,
yes,
when are they going to get this glass? When they are going to do it, and how will you help them? And what is the target that you are taking in front of them to do this for them?
yes. So our target is within the next 10 years, any person anywhere on the earth should be able to build any of these things for less than $10 per month or 100 rupees per month. Right? Any person. And we are touching, he asked about which are the industries we are touching. This phygital power is already being used by the Indian Army. We are designing a lot of things using the entertainment technologies, robots, but we are putting it in the borders for our Indian soldiers who are, which the robots that we have created are protecting our soldiers. These are real robots.
Have you already given
Yes.
robots to the Indian Army? You cannot talk about it.
Absolutely, yes.
They are already,
They already
you have
have.
already delivered this.
They have. They are wearing it right now. In fact, they are wearing these robots that we have given. And these are again phygital robots, right? So it combines humans and robots, right? So there are robots which work together with humans. They are not there to replace
You
humans.
cannot give this technology to any other army. Yes.
Friendly armies. We have the ability to give it to friendly armies. But if you think about it, there is no difference between virtual and real. Whatever you see in entertainment, it can actually come alive. Terminator and all is already happening, right? Space agencies are already using these robots. Ericsson, but see, we have given it to Ericsson for non-military purposes. Entertainment is using, like Ericsson is using this in their factories, right? Where humans wear this hollow suit. Now, instead of controlling avatars in movies, they are controlling real world robots and teaching them how to make various stuff, right? How to make coffee, because human body, everything that you do in the world, you do through your human body. So we can just kind of go ahead and teach anything to anybody, either to robots or to humans. That is the power of soft technology.
After this, you can line up outside, give your name to him, and he will create a digital twin for you. He will tell you how much he will charge when he's giving it to you after this. I'm now going to come back. We'll come back to the first two panelists. I'm now going to come back to a person who looks at all of these different media and entertainment technologies. From he is like the movie we didn't show you, Pinocchio. You control the puppet with a string like this. So in his right finger he has music, and his middle finger he has but film. The other finger he has but animation. So Naveen, how do you use all these fingers to demonstrate how before we made movies? So Kannada movies were seen by Kannada audience. Then it became South. Now it has become national. Now it's becoming international. What is going on? Can you tell us how all this is going to take India to the world stage? And why can we not make a movie on a bigger budget than Top Gun and make more money than Top Gun?
I think, hi everybody, it's me Naveen here. I think we can definitely make a movie with a bigger budget than Top Gun. It's a matter of time, and at least from what I've been seeing from the last 5 years to where we are at today, I think my company is already producing a movie with a budget of more than about 100 crores now. And and that's purely made with the local language, taking it completely international. And it's a story to be told for. And it has, well, I think, like you said, irrespective of all mediums, be it music, be it films, be it computer graphics or whatever, the technology or the tech part is the very essence without which there would be nothing. And without which none of these mediums of entertainment would survive, or cannot produce any content without any of these tech. So I think we have already come to a point where it is completely digital. Be it music, it's already digital. Be it films, it's already all digital. Be it news, we can't do any of the news without robotic cameras these days. So I think all of these require a great amount of support or stuff that is required from the AVGC sector completely. So I think without AVGC, there would be no entertainment going forward. And in terms of the budgets aspects, I think 5 years ago, we were realistically speaking about, maybe about 2 crores Indian rupees as a VFX budget for a Kannada film. That would be a very big budget. But today we're looking at, close to maybe about 10 million, which is huge. And we are actually lining up that kind of budgets because we know that to produce stuff that is being able to be consumed worldwide, we need that level of visual effects in the film. And that quality of visual effects can only be provided with great professionals down here. And with...
Do you see that industry-government collaboration, like in the Center of Excellence, is it going to help this to happen for many filmmakers?
Yes,
Can you explain
absolutely.
a little bit
Yeah,
how you would do something like that?
So we have all, like, my company has already benefited from the Center of Excellence. We have something called as the 3D body scan. I think it's the first in Asia to have more than about 400 cameras with it. And earlier, without the COE, it was practically impossible for me to go as a filmmaker and scan my main character in India at all. Forget India, Asia at all. So whatever we have down here in the COE is probably one of the best latest technology available to ensure that we can compete with or be on par with what the international market is and produce photorealistic characters seamlessly into the whole digital world. So I think we've got already the main character called, he's already a superstar, Mr. Upendra, already been 3D scanned. So he's probably the first Kannada star to be scanned, and we are using it extensively in the whole film. So I think and we have about 40 minutes of the film with visual effects and everything in it. So I think we've come a long way in the last 5 years.
Fantastic, very
With
good
the
to know
COE's
that.
help. Yeah.
And what we're going to do is we kept as a standby reel about COE. At the end of the panel, we'll play a 3-minute reel so that everybody can understand how these things we are talking about.
Yes.
And the next time we do an event at GAFX, please come to Bengaluru GAFX, also supported by the government of Karnataka. It has become the largest single, audio, visual, graphics, convergence event in the world. It's a lovely, somebody should note it down. I like this AVGC. It's very nice, very nice. So thanks, Naveen, for that.
Thank
and
you.
Very good. All the best for the movie.
Thank you.
Can you, if we take the names of people here, can we get a special ticket for the premiere of your movie or the preview for the movie? We'll bring this audience so they know what you are saying. You have done it at that time.
Sure, we could organize something.
And when will this come out? How long does it take to make something like this?
So we started in June.
Yes.
And we are at a very tight schedule.
Yes.
We will be coming on, we will be releasing the whole film by April.
Fantastic. And if you didn't have the ability to do these scans, it would have taken much longer
Oh,
to
yeah.
do this in the manual manner,
Yes.
right?
The manual.
Maybe 3 times, 4 times. the
Yes,
manual.
yes, absolutely. So our film is one of the first features, probably from down south, to do an entire sequence in virtual reality as well. So we've kind of, otherwise that whole sequence would have taken about 2 to 3 months to complete it, with a camera match move, a manual roto done, and integrate, a lot of CG elements in it. So all of this advancements are happening, and so VR has helped us, COE has helped us in a long way, and without which, there would just be manual labor done, and that would just, increase the whole timelines.
Thank you so much, Naveen.
Thank you.
And all the very best for not only this, I know the whole slate of movies and everything you're doing.
Yeah, thank you.
TV and everything. Bengaluru is very proud of you.
Thank you.
Very
Thank you.
proud of you. So, KK, all this talk of technology, right? Can you tell us a little bit what is the secret to real success? You are the head of animation. The word animation is used very loosely. Everyone talks about even PowerPoint slides changing as animation. So, what do you do? And what does your team do? And what is the most important thing to make all the things happen that we are talking about?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Biren. I live and breathe this art form called animation. I spend most of my time with artists who bring characters to life. A lot of these stunning visuals that Biren played a little while ago was done by a team working out of ITPL in Bangalore. Okay, there was a time like 20, 30 years ago, we used to do handouts from the West. We used to work on low quality stuff, but those days are gone. Uh, I think my team worked on, I don't think I know, our team worked on this movie called Sonic the Hedgehog Part 2. It was the largest grossing movie that ever came out of a game. So that is the kind of talent that is available in Bangalore. We are currently working on shows that are like amazing, out of the world quality stuff. So back in the days when I started animating, I never knew what was animation. I was dabbling a few things. I ended up working in a studio. I did a lot of other stuff before I realized that, this is where my passion is. I bring characters to life. The best satisfaction is when you see your own, what you've done, it comes to life on screen. So, the scope is humongous. We work on the best shows in the world, the best shots in the world. There is no differentiation from, what the West can do or what India can do. There is massive scope for growth. I think India as a soft power, it's unlimited. We've got the largest bank of cinematographers, editors. The perception has changed. Back in the days, no one knew what animation was, but nowadays youngsters are exposed to what is happening. They watch a lot of movies. There's a lot of stuff that comes. We wait in the end after certain movies to see, Indian names. We take up almost 60% of certain movies. That's the kind of talent that we have in India right now.
Very good, perfect.
That's called true power.
Congratulations. So, I've known KK for a long time, but today is a very special day because I've never seen him in a jacket. I think most animators, when they have to go on stage, they go and borrow someone's jacket. So, or they animate it or do something like that. How many people have seen Game of Thrones, House of Dragons?
Yeah.
Okay. How many people have seen 1917? How many people have seen? They do 20 movies and 32 TV series per year.
Yeah.
20 movies and 32 series per year, right? And so that's an amazing, prolific story.
And,
thank you, KK, for emphasizing that there are 3 T's in what you do, and the T of technology is only what you use, but it is talent, and talent.
Yeah.
And he started with a very small team in Bangalore. Now I think there are hundreds of people.
Exactly.
So now when we talk of high-end, we spoke of the last time. For example, when everything comes together in a movie, the final stage is called compositing, right? So if you take AVGC, which is the largest producer of visual effects in the world, people may not know this, 90% of all the compositing done for everything they do everywhere in the world happens in Bangalore.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's the kind of story that happens here, right? Every big movie that you think of, not just the initial steps, which were the simplest steps in the old days, very important steps, roto paint, match move, etc. But now animation and compositing and the creation of those assets, each of those things you saw, whether it's an environmental asset, a creature asset, a human asset, these are all now done, in India, and I think that's going to be a huge thing going forward.
Right.
And in the world that Harsha was talking about, right, where talent will be able to use those tools and do get the next level of things going there, right? So, Viren, back to you. Which was the hardest thing you did some years back, which would have been the simplest thing today, and what has changed, and what is going to? How do you think that? How do you think that today, when you start up, right, the tools, technology, facilities, infra available to you, how has it made it easier than 5 years back? And what should we be doing more? Suppose we were to tell you that we want to create a 2.0 version of COE. What are the things you will ask for over there, from a point of view of helping you and your business to multiply?
Yeah. So if I can just add something to what KK was saying, right? See, you just saw what all his team can do. And now to add to what I believe what's happening in India and for studios like ours, which are a small organization, but the amazing talent and the experience that the Indian artists are gathering by working on international project, that is going to percolate into our own development. When Indian filmmakers, Indian creators start making content, we will have access to the best and the brightest and the sharpest, minds and brains in the world, right? And that is going to be that's the one which is going to be game changer. So, right? So, what India needs right now, Viren and everyone else, right? I feel that is investment in critical and creative thinking, because we have spent a lot of the last past of two decades, we have spent learning how to follow an order instruction set. Now we need to find leaders, we need to find thinkers within you, right? We need to one who's going to create the instruction set. We have the know-how, we have the knowledge, we have the technology now. What we now need is writers, musicians, compositors, editors, and all the guys, all the good stuff like that, right? That make the movie what it is. So, and the way the technology is changing, I feel this. We need to be technology agnostic, because ultimately the film animation, it used to be overwhelming, right? Thinking 3D, thinking CGI, oh my God, it's so complex. Now it's just becoming another regular thing that one would do in the aspect of creating a film. The emphasis is back to storytelling, emphasis back to movies, and not just overwhelmed and overwrought by how amazing something, a sphere could look, right? So technology agnostic, creative thinking, critical thinking, those are what I believe will take us to the next level.
Fantastic, fantastic. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I've said it for all the 10 years or 20 years I've been coming here. Technology never invented anything. Technology never invented anything. All invention comes from the power of ideas. Technology enables those ideas to come to life. Even technology gets created by ideas.
Yes.
It does not get created. So when you started, you didn't think, what technology am I going to use? You wanted to find out, what am I going to do? How am I going to create something that is so spectacular, like you said? So can you throw some light on the fact that we also need in India? I have 2 points to make for this audience that is very interesting, because everyone thinks that they should just join a studio and make a movie. But we in India have many other issues. Infrastructure was one I talked about earlier. But today, most of us spend a lot of money on software. There are hardly 2 or 3 players in the world that have all the software that we use. And in India, we're supposed to have all the brains that create software. And we should be creating our own tools and technologies that make sure that hundreds and thousands of studios can multiply, individuals in their homes. We talked about the individual creator being the next big thing, using the tools that you, the space that you're creating for them. So I have 2 things that I thought, maybe including comments, because we want to see the COE and then we take questions. So where do you think this can head?
Absolutely. See, in fact, our vision and mission is like hire a million and skill a billion, right? So we are actually not trying to remove people using technology. We want to hire, in fact, we went from 1 to 10 to 100, right? And what I am saying is we are only 3 short of a million. So from 100 to the power of 3 is a million, right? So all in Mysore. The interesting part is that where is all the value? Like if you look at how many people are working versus who is extracting the value, right? Why are we still getting 2%, 3% of the value that is getting created? Why is it only 2% of the revenue coming to India, even though we are doing probably 50% of the work, right? It is because we lack the technology. And if we become the forefront, if we invent the technology, if we export the technology, and if we use it first, see, creation of technology is one part, but using it is the most important part, right? Because if we actually make sure there is a broad-based adoption of technology rather than fear of technology, then the same people will be able to become much, much more productive. They can do much more and actually extract a lot more value, right? We'll be able to get 50% of the value rather than 1% of the value. And these are the things that we should actually, the biggest need is to go around and make sure that technology creators and the content creators are actually in sync, right? The center of excellence is perfect, right? Convergence, definitely, because ultimately, if we look at anything, we want everyone to become a creator, right? Entertainment everywhere. And I see a future wherein you no longer consume the movies, right? Like when you're watching, like, let's say Avengers, you now become the Spider-Man and you kind of use the hollow suit and you just throw the web and you start doing the fighting. And it's going to be, you can become whichever character you want, right? And if we start exporting that type of technology, right, along with our content, along with our IP, we also embed this technology. And that's what people are doing everywhere, right? They are actually embedding. Why is Apple's one of the most valuable company? Because they have the technology and they're getting all the content into that, right? So if we actually go left side and the right side, both, if we merge them together, that will create, like India will become the leader. I have no doubt at all. India will become the leader.
Absolutely. I think, I mean, we always want creative people who's, like you showed us the number. But I think, and there are a huge number of programmers that are being produced every year in this very city itself. Once they get to know what this whole AVGC sector is all about and they dive in, there is no stopping for India to become a superpower in this AVGC sector itself. I think that's one of the biggest catalysts that's in the waiting.
So I just want to end by saying three things, and there's a one-liner from everybody. We get to take that with questions. I'm going to show you the video. Before that, I want to say, in February of this year, Nirmala Sitharaman, the Finance Minister of India, said in the budget speech that they will now look at promoting animation, visual effects, and games. After that, the Prime Minister of India has made a public statement twice in two public forums, saying that he sees AVGC, he spelled out animation, visual effects, games, and comics, because he hadn't met them. So he did not say convergence. The next year he will tell the Prime Minister. But he said AVGC will be the soft power that takes Indian culture and Indian storytelling to the world. On the 8th of April, he formed a task force with 5 ministries: information broadcasting, skills and entrepreneurship, commerce and industry, higher education, and electronics and IT. He also had 7 people from industry. I was lucky to be one of them. He also called in the states of Karnataka and Telangana. So the government of Karnataka was represented by Dr. Reddy, both our Chief Secretary for Principal Secretary for ITBT, as well as the Deputy Chief Secretary for Commerce and Industry. And we have met from April. It was a target of 4 months. So most of the industry people met every Friday for 2 hours in the morning virtually from 7 different locations. And we finished the policy 1 month back. And day before in Delhi, there was the CII summit. I currently chair the AVGC sector for CII. It has been announced on stage that India's national policy for AVGC will be released within the next 1 to 2 months. Yes, so there is going to be a fantastic change. There is also going to be a considerable grant given by the central government in order to create a national center of excellence, which is going to have all the new technologies, but significantly will also help in education. And education itself is going to be changed, where we are going to have the faculty. Currently, 139 universities only offer AVGC courses, but that is going to become part of curriculum. So the person who's AICT chairman, who's Dr. Anil Sahasrabudre, was our subcommittee person. You're going to see class 8, 9, 10, and 11 can drop subjects and take visual arts. You're going to see a 4-year undergraduate program. You're going to see an undergraduate program where basically the first 2 years will be standardized as core curriculum, and because technology changes so fast, they can specialize or take electives later on. And most importantly, And a very interesting thing, we have created a framework which is to be completed to give credits to people that have not gone to university. So if they come and work in studios, recognized studios, for a period of 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, they will be given credits. It's called recognition of prior learning. So we are creating for AVGC RPL in a way that a person can do some studies, come and work in a studio, get credits, and go for a higher course over there. So this whole landscape is being changed and reimagined based on the direction of the Prime Minister that we are implementing across all of these 5 different spaces. So a lot will happen here. We will be on the main stage of Bangalore Tech Summit and not on hall number 1 in the future. And I think that is the future that we have to all look forward to. Can I please ask for the video to be played, and then we will ask all of you to ask maybe questions. We will take one and combine answers in one shot. Yeah. So can we have the can we go to the side, please, panel? And we're going to show the supported by Government of Karnataka, the Center of Excellence for AVGC, in which we are very, very proud, is the first and the only one in Asia.
Lights down.
Lights down, please.
Just a quick shout out to AVGC Center of Excellence in Bangalore.
உண்மையில ரொம்ப சந்தோஷமா இருக்கு அபை சென்டருக்கு வந்ததுல. ஸோ இங்க நிறைய ஃபெசிலிட்டிஸ் இருக்கு. Hello, Namaste. This is Arjun Sarja. I'm in AVGC, Center of Excellence. Very nice, and this is the first time I'm experiencing something like this.
Biggest facility in our country also. So thank you for being part of it.
The movie is releasing next week.
Hello. I had the pleasure of visiting AVGC Center of Excellence in Bangalore. It's a fantastic idea. We've been thinking, talking of it, but they have actually executed it. It's one solid center, a place where so many things could be achieved. It's a fantastic facility. I wish you do more improvements and make India proud. Thank you.
Karnataka, made in Bengaluru. That's it. So I think we have time for one or two questions, one last question. Okay. Somebody had questions. Yes, sir, you put your hand up first, and then we go to the lady because no ladies in the panel, so we have to go to two ladies, and then we'll try to take all the answers together. So ask
Yeah.
all the questions, please, panel, please.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible. It's sounding very nice.
Wonderful. I'm Colonel Hari Prasad. I'm much excited when Harshavardhan told that he has got already robots working on the front line. I just want to ask you one question. How far is it electronic warfare proof? No, because there is a communication link between the center, controlling center and the robots. And that link, if it is interfered with, will the robots work against them?
So that's a great question. So the best part is I have worked at Microsoft Robotics and have about 45 patents. And most of the robotic technologies I have worked, I've made sure they are autonomous, right? So the electronic warfare affects a lot of robots where if it is just remote controlled, right? But the way we have developed and designed these robots are you teach the robots how to do certain things and they will actually remember and understand, and in similar situations they have autonomous capabilities to take certain actions. So that is the way we are able to overcome electronic warfare. And of course there is a lot of parallel work happening with respect to quantum communication and many other technologies. These are all, I mean, Indian Army is advancing significantly, right? I'm very happy and proud to say. In fact, last week I was there with the Indian Army, and they are kind of really aware and they're making all kind of leaps and bounds of progress in terms of adopting technology.
Thank you. We'll take technical questions offline, but I want only the questions to be asked. Yes, please shout out the questions.
So very quick question. So now we are focusing on the visualizations, right? So you're converting different heroes into visuals.
Yes.
So is there a potential scope to convert or make multilingual languages, movies into different languages using machine learning? Like, because I dub for other movies.
Question is clear.
Yeah.
Next
So
question. We'll take all the questions one time. Next is there. Go ahead, ask the question quickly, online.
Hey,
Good question.
I guess that everyone has seen Real Steel. When would it come a reality? I really love Atom and
It's
Ditto.
already real.
In India.
Okay. Next question. Already there. Next question. Offline. Catch him after the yes.
Yeah, no, I think with the way technology is going, I can see how it is changing the way we engage with the world. So I just want to understand, where do we draw the line between embracing technology while also retaining our humanness as a
Embracing
species?
technology versus?
While also retaining the humanness of who we are
Very
as a
nice
species.
question. Okay, good. Next one. No. Mike.
Actually, my question, I don't want to sound pessimistic, but it is very hi-fi thing what you have told. My only question is, how will be able to distinguish, because it will become so much real. Human minds always gets placed down. So when really this happens, how we are going to ensure that we are not going psycho or we are not doing something very silly?
That's why we have
Where
created
you
a
draw the line?
meditation and yoga suit also. So don't worry, technology will take care of that also.
Very good question. Very good question. In fact, the people who are already psycho can be cured.
Sir, between this Kiran and Naveen, now we have usually meant for big screen, but now every OTT also getting, how is there any difference of work is for OTT and big screen?
Very good. Next question. All done. Very good. So we'll start with the first one. We took 5 startups, the government of India, Ministry of Information Broadcasting took 5 startups. I was the mentor for them. We went to the Cannes Film Festival. And one of them is actually in the business of creating automated machine learning, multilingual in countries not only for our Indian languages, but for the world's languages. So at one stage, they got their first round of funding. That is number one. This question about where do you draw the line between human intervention, this is a big debate and a big subject. For example, right now, gaming is suffering from the lack of clarity in regulation. Why? Because some state governments are looking that, look, we can't allow these games to be played by kids, etc., etc. The debate is, what is the game of chance, what is the game of skill, and what is gambling? Now, why is this happening? Because the government's role is to see that citizens do not get affected. So they are coming from a very nice place to see that citizens don't get affected, and the people are saying, no, but this is a trend you cannot stop. So this debate will continue, and when the partnership between government, industry, and citizens will find new ways of creating regulation. Our Cinematographic Act is very old, our Censorship Act is very old, but there are no acts like this for new media, so it has to find its own level over time, and it will happen. And of course, preserving is very important. So, for example, some of the big sites, like if you are on Dream 11 or MPL or many of these, many sites, they automatically have built in that after 45 minutes, they say you've been playing too long, take a break. And if they don't stop for 1.5 hours, then they cut you off for 30 minutes. So those are the things that we have to do with technology in order to make sure we put the guardrails so that people can retain their sense of humanness, I think. And many such other examples will follow, for sure. Yeah. In terms of your pessimism, it is actually the birth of all ideas. So when we want to solve a problem and create a startup, we start by saying this cannot be done. And then people here on the panel, they try and go and do it. So let me tell you one thing, and I think the lady talked about it earlier. We are in the business of imagery and simulation. If we did not have imagery and simulation, they could not have trained pilots to fly you in a plane. Right? So everything that we do is imagery and simulation. It could be done by him for Sonic the Hedgehog, but it could be done by him in order to create the next thing. I'm a Formula One fan. There is no Formula One driver that hasn't spent hundreds of hours on a simulator before he's given a car that costs $60 million. So basically, when we talk about what this is doing, it is providing you the tools for the next level of imagery and simulation. That is our industry, no matter which part of our industry you go to. So health tech, ed tech, etc. Vaccines would not have been created as quickly as they were in India if they had not understood imagery and simulation. And therefore, all I'm saying to you is that the tools that we create for movies and entertainment over the last 20 years then find their ways into more practical enterprise-like applications. So indulge our slightly psychotic nature because it takes pessimism and makes it into optimism. I think that is okay. Anything else? I think we are out of time now. Or, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for this wonderful panel.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for being here. No matter which panel you go to in BTS, you will see that imagery and simulation and audio, visual, graphics, convergence is going to become the topic that you will take away from BTS 2022. We will see you here next year. Thank you very much.
Thank you everyone for this wonderful and amazing session from all the panelists. I would like to call upon Madam Vijay Lakshmi Ma'am, AGM of Kids, Karnataka Government, to hand over the memento.
Look at this camera.
A small memento from Ma'am to the Kiran Kumar sir. Once we are taking a photo, so you can we have Mr. Srinivas Mohan sir. Okay, sorry. Mr. Harshavardhan sir, thank you so much for your wonderful speech.
This is a real one, not a virtual one.
We have Mr. Naveen Kumar sir, thank you. And we have Viren Bose sir, thank you so much for all the information. Thank you everyone for this wonderful session.